Let's talk about something so many of us just brush off, snoring. But what if that noise you or your partner make every night isn't just an annoyance? What if it's actually your body trying to tell you something really, really important? So, does this sound like your life? You clock in a full 8 hours, maybe more, but when that alarm goes off, you feel like you've been hit by a truck. You're just dragging yourself through the day, you can't shake that brain fog, and you're living on coffee. If you're nodding along right now, you need to hear this, because that exhaustion is almost certainly connected to what's happening when you think you're sleeping. See, a lot of the time, the real reason you're so tired isn't just stress or a lumpy mattress. It's often tied directly to those sounds in the night. You know, the loud snoring, maybe even some gasping sounds. These aren't just noises. They are signals of a much bigger problem going on under the surface. And that problem? It's often a condition called obstructive sleep apnea. It sounds complicated, but here's what's happening. As you sleep, the muscles in the back of your throat relax, which is normal. But for some people, they relax too much, and your airway literally collapses and gets blocked. This means you stop breathing, sometimes for 10, 20, even 30 seconds at a time. Your brain thankfully realizes you're not getting oxygen and sends a panic signal that jolts you just awake enough to gasp for air. And get this can happen over and over again, even hundreds of times a night, and you probably won't even remember it in the morning.
So, you're probably wondering, how in the world would I even know if this is happening to me? Well, there are some major red flags to look out for. Let's walk through the 5 biggest warning signs right now.
All right, number 1 is that loud, disruptive snoring. We're not talking about a gentle rumble here. This is the kind that might make your partner leave the room. Then, number 2, that snoring is often followed by gasping or choking sounds. That's a huge giveaway. Number 3 is the actual pause in breathing. A partner is most likely to notice this, a scary silence between snores. And all of that leads directly to number 4, that overwhelming daytime sleepiness we keep talking about. And finally, number 5, you consistently wake up with a pounding headache or a super dry mouth. That's from the drop in oxygen and breathing through your mouth all night trying to get more air. And beyond those big 5, there are other clues that are a little more subtle. Maybe you find yourself waking up all the time for no reason, or you just can't focus at work. You might feel really irritable or have big mood swings. The impact is huge. It's even connected to things like high blood pressure and just feeling like you're tossing and turning all night. It all adds up.
And this is the part where we get serious, because this isn't just about feeling tired. This is about your long-term health. When your body goes through that cycle of oxygen dropping and then jolting awake all night long, it puts an unbelievable amount of strain on your entire system.
And that strain? It dramatically raises your risk for some of the most serious health conditions out there. We're talking about a much higher risk of having a stroke, developing heart disease, and chronic high blood pressure. It's also tied to trouble managing blood sugar, which can lead to type 2 diabetes. Not to mention just chronic, life-altering fatigue and serious memory issues. Just think about the difference in your day-to-day life. A brain that gets real, restorative sleep is sharp. It's focused. Your mood is stable. Your memory is clear. But an apnea brain, it's constantly in survival mode. It's foggy, it's irritable, and trying to concentrate feels like wading through mud. It's really the difference between thriving in your life and just surviving it. Okay. So, if a lot of this is starting to sound way too familiar, you might be feeling a little worried right now. And that's totally normal. But here's the really good news. Finding out what's going on is so much easier and more convenient than it used to be. You don't have to dread the process anymore. Yeah, that old idea of having to go to a strange lab and get hooked up to a million wires while someone watches you sleep, that's pretty much a thing of the past for most people. Technology has come a long way, and now you can get the answers you need without even leaving your house. It's really just a simple 3-step deal. First, you order a test kit, and it gets mailed right to your door. Second, you wear this small, easy-to-use device for one night, in the comfort of your own bed. It tracks your breathing, your oxygen levels, everything you need. Third, the data gets sent off and reviewed by a board-certified sleep specialist, who then gives you a complete report. It is literally that simple. All right, I'm sure you still have some questions. So let's do a quick fire round and tackle the 2 biggest ones that usually come up when people start thinking they might have sleep apnea. This is the number 1 question, right? A lot of people snore. How do you tell the difference between normal snoring and something you actually need to worry about? Here's the bottom line. It becomes serious when it fits the pattern we talked about. It's loud, it's not regular, and, most importantly, it's paired with those telltale gasping sounds or those silent pauses. If you have that pattern and you feel exhausted the next day, that's your sign. It's time to take it seriously. And the other big question,
what if I just ignore it? I'll just drink more coffee and push through. What really happens if you do nothing?
Well, like we covered, doing nothing is actually a pretty big gamble with your health. Leaving sleep apnea untreated means you are actively choosing a path that leads to a much higher risk of really serious stuff, like a stroke, heart disease, or diabetes. It's a risk that's just not worth taking.
So if there's only one thing you remember from all of this, please let it be this. That snoring isn't just some annoying habit. It's a flashing red warning light from your body, telling you that something is wrong and it needs you to pay attention. So I'm going to leave you with a final question to think about. Just imagine for a second, what would you do if you woke up every morning feeling genuinely rested, with a clear head and enough energy to power through your entire day? What would you achieve? How would your life actually change for the better? Finding out is the first step.